And chairman of the Senate Homeland Security Committee. Good to see you, Senator. Thanks so much for joining us.
Good morning, Maria.
Your takeaway from the confirmation hearings last week, and then I want to look forward to get your take on what we might hear this upcoming week.
Well, I chaired the hearing on General Kelly for Secretary of Department of Homeland Security, a person of just high integrity, a background that's just perfectly suited at this moment in time to be the Secretary of Department of Homeland Security, a four-star general, a gold star parent. I think he will sail through the confirmation process, hopefully be confirmed on the same day. I was obviously there with the Rex Tillerson hearing in the Foreign Relations Committee. I thought Mr. Tillerson did an excellent job, showed himself, again, to be highly intelligent, highly competent. From my standpoint, somebody with the temperament and the intelligence to really be a first-class, first-rate Secretary of State. So, from my standpoint, I was very pleased with the confirmation hearings that I attended.
Well, do you think that was among the most contentious, the Rex Tillerson hearing? I mean, I recognize that he came across solid, strong, in command of the subject for sure. But Marco Rubio obviously was pushing back, trying to get him to say that Vladimir Putin was a war criminal.
Maria, the Secretary of State is going to have to deal with the leader of the other world nuclear superpower. And I don't see how it benefits anybody to back a Secretary of State in the corner of name-calling when he's going to have to sit down and deal with that nation. I'm not sure this is true or not, but I don't recall any other senator forcing or pushing either Secretary Kerry or Secretary Clinton to name-call that significant a world leader. So, listen, the facts are there. I certainly am extremely wary of Vladimir Putin. We've held hearings on his propaganda, on his different disinformation campaigns about the political assassinations that have occurred during his tenure there as the leader of Russia. So I'm incredibly wary, but I just don't see what good it does putting a label that's going to prevent the next Secretary of State and the next administration from dealing with something they're going to have to deal with.
Now we know this morning U.S. Republican Senator Rand Paul said that he will vote for Tillerson for Secretary of State. Senator Paul also says that the Obamacare replacement bill would let small business band together to buy health coverage. Do you think that there's any way that there is enough pushback to keep Rex Tillerson from becoming Secretary of State?
I mean, I hope not. Maria, for decades, well before I ever entered this realm, I've listened to senators from both parties talk about how elections matter, how it's incredibly important that a president, whether you agree with him or disagree with him, has the cabinet members and advisors that agree with his position, and senators from both parties have voted for and to confirm people that they don't agree with, but they recognize that it is important. They have to be very deferential and give presidents a great deal of latitude to select their own advisors. So it'd be pretty hypocritical of senators to go back on what they've said in the past from that standpoint. I think it's, particularly this moment in time.
Yeah, I mean,
with the problems we have internationally, that we don't allow President Obama or President-elect Trump to select the people that are going to really run his foreign policy and really keep our nation and our homeland secure.
Look, you would think that everyone is in the same boat in terms of wanting a peaceful transition of power. Having said that, there are 17 Democrats right now who are boycotting President-elect Trump's inauguration.
Listen, I understand people weren't happy with the election result. I wasn't happy with the election result in 2008 and 2012, and yet I voted to confirm the vast majority of the nominees that President Obama put in front of the Senate. So, I guess people have to get over that.
Yeah.
They have to realize Donald Trump will become our next president, and we all want him to succeed.
Yep.
We are in perilous times right now. We've got to strengthen our economy so we can strengthen our military, so we can defeat ISIS, secure our border, and keep our homeland secure.
All right, let me ask you about what's happening this upcoming week, because, of course, you've got Wilbur Ross on the docket for Commerce Secretary. That's on the 18th. Scott Pruitt for the EPA. Nikki Haley, UN Ambassador. What are you expecting? Rick Perry, obviously, for Energy, which you'll be there. What are you expecting out of these hearings, and what will be most important in terms of the pushback on this slate of people?
Well, I'll be involved in the Nikki Haley and the Wilbur Ross hearings. I was a little surprised at how the Democrats turned Rex Tillerson hearing into a referendum on climate change again. I'd imagine they'll do the same thing with Nikki Haley. I met with Wilbur Ross, and quite honestly, I'm certainly somebody who's for free but fair trade. And I was actually pretty well comforted by Wilbur Ross's understanding that, yes, we have to engage in free trade. And I think what this administration will do is really address the real abuses of many of our trading partners as it relates to free trade with America. So I think they got their head screwed on right from this standpoint. I think he'll make an excellent Commerce Secretary.
You know, I was reading earlier in the news, Peter Thiel, the technology executive, the founder of PayPal, who, of course, was very present out there for Donald Trump at the Republican National Committee, is considering a bid to run for California governor. What do you think about that?
That'd be an interesting selection. Listen, Maria, I am really looking forward to working with an administration that is not only headed by somebody from the private sector and business, somebody who's accomplished things, gotten real results, but he's surrounding himself with other people, highly intelligent, highly competent from the private sector. Yeah, I'm a business guy. I come from the private sector. It is perspective that is largely missing in Washington, D.C., which is one of the reasons I think we have such gridlock and we have so many problems with so many programs. People don't look at metrics. People don't run things in Washington, D.C. As, for example, you have to run the private sector. You have to succeed in the private sector to go on long term. Oftentimes in government, failure allows you to get more funding. So it's a completely different perspective. I think it'll be a very refreshing perspective to have a bunch of people from the private sector starting to run a government.
Right. Well, this is what I'm getting at. I mean, and why I bring up Peter Thiel, because for the first time in a long time, you've got people who have managed employees, created jobs, managed a balance sheet, and it's all business. And so that's part of the pushback on the left, but it's a completely new approach. It will be interesting to see if actually this works versus what we've seen.
Way too often, career politicians, about the only thing they accomplish in life is getting elected. And then once in office, what are they primarily trying to do? Is stay elected. Again, in the private sector, you have to get results. You have to accomplish things day in, day out. You're going to come with a mindset, whether it's the governor of California or the President of the United States and his cabinet members, to start getting results. Take a look at the disaster that's been Obamacare and fix it using metrics. Completely different mindset.
Senator, good to have your insights. Thanks so much.